Assalamualaikum dear students, hope you are fine by the grace of Almighty Allah. Welcome to NIEPS Home School. I am Sabreena, assistant teacher of science, National Television School, day shift. Dear students, today I am going to take a biology class based on chapter 6. The name of the chapter is transportation in organism, and today we will discuss the last part of the chapter. Along with this, we will also discuss the exercise creative question and its answer. So let us move forward to today's topic. Dear students, today we will start from the cholesterol. The first line is the definition of cholesterol. Cholesterol is a compound produced from the hydrocarbon cholesterol, and it is an important component in animal cell. Cholesterol circulates in the blood as lipoprotein, and there are three types of lipoprotein in the blood. One is LDL, that is low density lipoprotein. This is called blood cholesterol because it increases the risk of heart disease. Generally, our blood contains 70% of LDL, and this varies from person to person. Now come to HDL, high density lipoprotein. This is generally known as good cholesterol because it decreases the risk of heart disease. Dear students, you have to learn these two. Now triglyceride, this cholesterol is in the plasma as fat triglyceride, and it grows from animal fat and carbohydrate. The ideal range of cholesterol in blood is shown in the table below. LDL is 1.8, above 1.8 is DL is below 1.5, and triglyceride is above 1.7. This chart you have to learn from for the MCQ. Foods such as butter, corn, oyster, liver of cattle, egg, especially the egg yolk, contains high amount of cholesterol. So who have the high cholesterol, they have to avoid these types of food. Now come to demerits of high cholesterol. This portion you have to learn. The supply of oxygen and nutrients is essential in heart as in all the other organs of our body. Blood circulation is interrupted if there is an accumulation of fat in the corollary artery of the heart. Consequently, cardiac muscle is damaged because of deficiency of oxygen and nutrients. This condition is called angina. Moreover, the possibility of heart disease increases to a great extent when the blood circulation is disturbed because accumulation of too much fat is on the artery wall. Now, function of cholesterol and usefulness. This portion also you have to learn. And now come to the portion that cholesterol is involved in the constructing of cell membrane and its protection. It determines permeability, allowing certain substances to enter the cell. It helps in producing hormones such as androgen and estrogen. And cholesterol plays an important role in producing the hormones of the adrenal gland and in the production of bile. In presence of sunlight, the cholesterol in the skin prepare vitamin D, which carries by the blood to the kidney to be converted into active form of vitamin D. Cholesterol is essential for the metabolism of fat-soluble vitamins such as vitamin A, D, E, and K, and for the activities of neurons. Cholesterol is closely related to the prevention of disease. However, the presence of high cholesterol is also related to irregularities of heart and blood transportation. Though it is an important component of bile, it is also a waste product, and it is eliminated through the liver. Increased amount of cholesterol deposit in gallbladder as the sediment. This sediment cholesterol form the stone. Not only the stone, this stone is known as gallstone. That cholesterol, not only cholesterol, phosphate and calcium may also form the gallstone. And come to irregularities in the blood and bone marrow, that is leukemia. Red blood cells are produced in the liver and the pancreas of the embryonic stage. In the embryonic stage, it starts developing from bone marrow birth, and this mainly supply oxygen. And if the production of red blood cell is interrupted for any reason and an abnormal increase of white blood cell happens, then the symptoms of leukemia detected, and leukemia is one kind of cancer. Now come to, though leukemia is called blood cancer, it is in fact a disease related to malfunctioning of blood production, and bone marrow is most affected, and low red blood cell count cause the deficiency of oxygen. As a result, patient become weak, pale and have the shortness of breath. Bleeding, gum and nose bleeding may be occur abnormally and due to low platelets count. Now that means World Health Organization said that there are more than 50 types of leukemia, and most of which is high white blood cell count. Though white blood cell increase in number, in fact these cancer cells are unable to prevent the disease as these are supposed to. So a person is suffering from leukemia is easily vulnerable to various diseases. Swollen lymph nodes and the persistent fever may also occur due to the immunodeficiency disorder, and thus the symptoms of this disease shows inability in most all the blood cells to function properly. However, symptoms may vary based on types of leukemia. Now come to the treatment. Now the generally bone marrow transplantation and the chemotherapy is the major form of treatment, though treatment may vary based on the types of leukemia. Now there is the arrangement of bone marrow transplantation in the Dhaka Medical College Hospital, and the chemotherapy is being provided in many public and private hospitals in our country. Now come to next one, that is corollary diseases and their remedies. First corollary disease is heart attack. When blood clot in any part of the heart that stops blood circulation, this causes the damage of cardiac cell. It results the myocardial infarction and the corollary thrombosis, which is commonly known as heart attack. The number of patients of heart disease is increasing in Bangladesh, and there are three main blood vessels of the heart that carries out its activities. These are called coronary arteries. Sometimes there is a deposition of lipids that forms a blockage in the wall of these arteries, which creates obstacle in blood flow. This causes life-threatening heart disease, and the people aged between 40 to 60, but many are attacked with this disease, but many young people also have heart attack. And the main cause of heart disease is overweight, uncontrolled proportion of glucose in blood, eating unhealthy diet such as oily food and fast food, lack of physical exercise, depression, emotional strain, anxiety and sadness increase the risk of this disease at any age. Now come to symptoms of the diseases. Symptoms of the heart disease are feeling severe chest pain, particularly pain in mid-chest, and the pain is spread from left side to all over the chest. Pain also is spread towards the neck and left hand, and patient feels pressure on the chest and starts swelling severely. Diabetic patient may heart attack without any chest pain. So what is when it is diagnosed, it may be too late. Therefore, diabetic patient need to regular medical checkup even if they do not face any problem. Now come to remedy. The remedy are to keep free from this disease. From some rules should be followed so that blood pressure can be controlled. Avoid smoking, so regular exercise like walking. And now come to next one, eat sufficient amount of fruits and vegetables, avoid fatty, fried, spicy and fast food. Now come to rheumatic fever, and rheumatic fever is a disease brought on by Streptococcal infections. This is a bacterial disease, and it is bacterial infection such as throats, scarlet fever, and tonsillitis or middle ear infection. The initial attacks of the disease usually occurs in childhood and may affect many parts of the body, especially the heart. If the rheumatic heart disease developed, sometimes it injures the heart muscle and its valves, so heart cannot pump adequate blood and the flow of blood within body decreases. Then if not diagnosed or treated properly, that there will be weight loss, anemia, exhaustion, then loss of appetite and pallor, etc. indicate the severity of the disease, and later red, swollen and painful joints are seen. And if the disease detected on immediate and early stage, the penicillin may be used. And some physicians recommend the penicillin be given regularly to the children who have rheumatic fever until they reach the adulthood. Now come to the measure to keep the heart sound. Dear students, the heart starts functioning ever before a baby is born and continue to still last breath. That means if you observe the ultrasound of a mother, there when the baby is 8 weeks old, that time we can listen the heartbeat, or we can see the heart is beating. The heart plays an important role both in life and death. In order to keep the heart healthy, it is necessary to maintain proper lifestyle and select right kind of food. Oily food and high fat foods obstruct the proper functioning of heart. Cholesterol in the blood harms the heart by blocking the blood vessel. Drug and alcohol addiction increase the heartbeats and heart functioning. So the addicted person gets mental pleasure and peace for a while, but it causes a serious long-term harm to the heart. Poisoning due to the smoking and taking nicotine of tobacco like jorda damage the heart. According to fatty diet as well as oil, fats, excess carbohydrate and regular exercise can be excess carbohydrate, and then regular exercise can make a person healthy. Now we will solve the MCQ, and this portion will be your homework. You have to write this question answer as your homework. Now come to the MCQ. What is the name of membrane covering the heart? Epicardium, myocardium, endocardium and pericardium. Dear students, the outer covering of the heart is known as pericardium. Now come to next one. RFS sauce and soil rising in the food made of rice, milk and sugar, that is payash. In this case, what is caused of the soiling of this resin? Diffusion, absorption, osmosis, imbibition. Dear students, we know resin soil up because of osmosis, and osmosis one kind of diffusion, but here is written directly osmosis, so you put tick mark on osmosis. Now come to the table, that we have to follow the table for answer the question of 3 and 4. Then Rafin has the blood group A, Tamim B, Tasmia is AB and Ratul is O. Here you have to remember that AB is the universal receptor and O is the universal donor. Now come to question number 3. If the blood input is necessary for Rafin, that means group A, blood group A, from whom he can receive the blood. Tamim, Tasmia, Ratul, Tamim and Ratul. And dear students, there only Rafin have the blood group A. That's why Rafin can take the blood from blood group O. That means to form Ratul. Now come to next one. Tasmia carries the blood AB antigen in the blood. 2 can donate the blood to Rafin and can receive the blood from Tamim. Dear students, AB blood group carries the antigen A and B both, so this one is correct, and A can donate the blood to Rafin, that means blood group A, it is incorrect, and can receive the blood from Tamim, that means B, that means it is, we know it is universal receptor, that means it is correct, it can receive the blood from Tamim. So answer is 1 and 3, that means B. Now come to creative question. This is the stem of the creative question. There is the sun, it is indicated as S, this leaf is indicated as Y, and the oxygen is evolved from the leaf, and the water is known as X, marked as X, and water is taken from the soil, and it is goes to the carries out to the leaf. Now come to the question, what is addition, what is imbibition? C, explain the what is the effects, what is the effect will be on the process of the for the absence of the constituent S. And last one, analyze the problem that may develop in the plant if the element X does not reach the region Y. The answer of A is the characteristics of any metal to stick together with water molecules is known as addition. Now come to next one, the special process of absorbing liquid by dry or half dry colloidal substances is known as imbibition. Seed absorbs the water before germination in imbibition process. Now come to next question answer. Here the constituent S is sunlight, the process mentioned in the stem known as photosynthesis. The main element of photosynthesis is light, chlorophyll, water and carbon dioxide. If one of these elements is absent, then the photosynthesis process will be stopped. So without sunlight, the photosynthesis process will stop and no oxygen will emit in the atmosphere. Without oxygen, living animals and human cannot live. With everything will be destroyed. So with constituent S in the stem, photosynthesis process will be destroyed. Now come to answer of D. In the stem, element X is water and Y region is leaf. If the water does not flow to leaf, then the photosynthesis and transpiration process will be stopped. Photosynthesis is the process by which plants produce their food with sunlight, chlorophyll, water and carbon dioxide. Without photosynthesis, plants cannot exist. On the other hand, transpiration is the process by which plants emit water vapor. This process is useful for metabolic activities of plants, and it helps plants to conduct mineral salts and controls the temperature of plants. If X elements does not reach Y region, plants will die. Now come to Now come to next question answer, that is question number 2. Mr. Hassan is 50 years old. He serves in socio-economic institution. He is feeling headache, palpitation, restless, and his 7 years old daughter Moon feels joint pain, and her skin turned swollen and reddish, and they consult a doctor. After some tests, doctor advised necessary measures. First one is what is blood. Second one is explain how white blood cells protect body. Third one is explain the causes of Mr. Hassan's disease. And last one is which disease is incurable and from the problem mentioned. Explain. The answer of A is the blood is a viscous, lightly alkaline and salty fluid, and B is white blood corpuscles are known as the guard of human body. There are 5 to 10,000 white blood corpuscles in 1 cubic millimeter. Then white blood corpuscles engulf the germs. By spreading white blood corpuscles save human body. Now come to next one. Then Mr. Hassan feels headache, palpitation, restless, and these are the symptoms and the signs of hypertension. A normal adult person processes the systolic pressure 120 and diastolic pressure 80 or below. It is considered as the desired measure. When systolic and diastolic pressure rise more than the normal pressure, it is called hypertension. The reason behind hypertension of Mr. Hassan. First one, maybe Mr. Hassan parents had got this problem. Second one, another reason of that he suffers from tension or he has a smoking habit. And third one is another reason can be his body weight is much or he takes excessive salt in the food and fatty diet. Fourth one is diabetic and cholesterol are also the reason of hypertension. Now come to last question answer. There are two problems mentioned in the STEM. One is the Mr. Hassan headache, palpitation and restless, and there are signs and symptoms of these are the, dear students, it will be these are the signs and symptoms of hypertension. Another problem of his daughter's moons, joint pain, skin turns swollen and reddish. These are the signs of and the symptoms of rheumatic fever. Between those two diseases, hypertension is incurable and rheumatic fever is curable. Rheumatic fever is the result of Streptococcus infection, and if we can detect and in the primary steps, then it can be prevented by using penicillin. If the patient have hypertension, it can be transferred to the offspring and one generation to generation. It transferred by chromosomes. For the reason hypertension is incurable, but it can be controlled by taking medicine regularly, balanced diet and avoid smoking. Dear students, this is your homework number 8. You have to write the exercise short question answer which is given in page number 154. Dear students, you have to learn all the important topic and you have to practice the drawing of the figure of heart and do the SWs. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.